So we're gonna grade this clip from scratch so I can show you what I did. Just to make a new group, you can just go add into new group and then you write one, but I already had a group right here of Apple Log. This was the Rec 2020 and Apple Log to DaVinci Wide Gamut and DaVinci Intermediate in the group pre-clip. In the group post-clip, we have the DaVinci Wide Gamut to the DaVinci Intermediate to the Rec 709 and to Gamma 2.4. And now we're gonna grade this from scratch. Alt-S creates a node. First node I like usually doing is white balance. I'll do Alt-S again, the exposure, and then what I've done on the previous ones is I'll do Alt-P, Alt-P. Here I was doing balance, and here I was doing saturation. And we'll start with these and see how far we can go. I'll start with the exposure. I can see the gamma kind of coming up, putting the lift down a little bit. Let's check where the exposure is. I think I'll start it a little bit higher. I like darker shadows, not too dark, getting some definition. I'll go to the white balance now. This is looking very pink to me. We can make it a little bit green. It's also looking very blue. Don't want to break this too much. All right, that's looking good. See before, after. Now we're gonna do the exposure. When I bring up the gain, I'm liking the look. I feel like it's adding some more dimension. And then gamma, I think the darker forest. I'm liking the look of the darker forest. Now I'm adjusting the balance. And with balance is where I'm kind of working with the specific colors in the primary wheel. We'll start with the offset, see if there's any large movements I want to make. Maybe a little bit of warmth. I'm liking that look of the little bit of warmth. You can now see kind of what looks best with gain. You know, I'm liking the kind of warm greenish. Not pushing it too far, but just a little bit. Kind of liking too the little bit reddish in the gamma. You get a lot of these kind of trees in the gamma. And I think getting a little bit of red, not too much, kind of balances out the image nicely. And we'll see if there's anything in the shadows. You know, a little bit of warmth too, I feel like is adding a nice forest feeling. And we can always check. This is before, this is after. Before white balance, after white balance. For exposure, after exposure, getting some more contrast. For balance, after white balance. Again, it's looking kind of bluish, a little washed out. I'm feeling like this is looking a little bit more rich. Now we'll go for saturation. The easy way to do saturation is just to pump up with the saturation slider. You don't want to go too far out, you know, 100 looks a little bit ridiculous. But even just a touch, 61, that's looking nice. And sometimes when you adjust one of these, you'll want to readjust others. I will add another one. And I'll try to do curves. And because it's very foresty, there's kind of two colors I usually will try to attack, which is kind of the reddish, which should get more of the wood and dirt, and then the greens, which get more of the leaves. We will want to target the leaves. So we'll get right there, smack dab. That's the leaves, it's this greenish red. Hue is a good one to kind of get the specific color. I feel like they're looking a little bit warm. What happens if we cool them off? Cooling them off, even just that little bit, I feel like makes a pretty significant difference. It's subtle. And then curves too, we'll do the hue and we'll get those kind of reds, pushing it a little bit more of the red. If I go down, it looks more green. If I go up, it's looking a little bit more red, a little bit bright. And then we can also target specific stuff. So we can do the hue luma for this color. And the luma is how bright it is. I think even in some dark, we can even, you know, spread this out a little bit so that it captures more colors. And you can see at this point, it's really seeming to get these kind of these bright spots. Do I want a saturation? I think this area could up a saturation. Yeah, I think that's looking a little bit good. I like the little push saturation. Maybe that's a little far. Before, after, you're getting deeper red, so that is looking a little dark. But even just that little bump, I think makes a big difference. Let's see what we want for the leaf color. This is the luminance. I think even pushing the leaves up a little bit adds a little bit of nice dynamism. And then the saturation for the leaves. I like pushing these up. I think this is looking good. This is the before if you look close up at the leaves. This is the after. We look at both of these curves. Before, after. And overall, I'm liking this. I think this could maybe even use a little bit less saturation now that I've kind of pushed up some of the saturation. And here we have the before and the after. I'm liking the look. Do I want to adjust the sky? I will try a qualifier on the sky as we did before, and now we can shrink what levels we are looking for. All right, that seems to be pretty good at isolating patches of the sky. I think there might be a little bit of contamination, but it's looking pretty good for the sky. We'll name this sky. And let's see what adjustments we want to make. Let's see if we just make this sky more blue, if that makes a big difference at all. A little bit. Gain. Also, you know, we can always test. So we can kind of, if we push the gain a little bit, that's starting to break it when we move the gamma down. Honestly, doing a little bit of adjustment to the white balance, I find working. And then before, after. You see before, it's looking a little bit greenish and yellowish. After, it's looking a little bit more white, a little push into the blue. If we look at the whole thing, it's looking a little bit more clean, I find, and a little bit more pure white. And then before, after.